Around the corner, only a few weekends between now and Christmas, which means you are, kind of limited on your shopping time. 20 days remaining. Leah Long joins us as we start the 8 o'clock hour this morning. She works with the National Federation of Independent Small Businesses. She's the director in Mississippi and Louisiana. Leah, good to have you on again. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we had Black Friday, and then we had Small Business Saturday, and then we had Cyber Monday and Giving Tuesday. There's been a lot of outgo for a lot of people over the last few days. Talk to us about kind of the projections and what you're hearing anecdotally from businesses that you deal with early in this holiday season.
Yeah, I think, based on last year's number was a great turnout for small business owners, especially on Small Business Saturday. Of course, Black Friday too, but we love to push Small Business Saturday, whether that's a retail store, whether you're taking your family because they don't want to eat any more Thanksgiving leftovers, out to dinner, lunch, go into a local restaurant that's a small business owner is always good. But we're hopeful that, as the holidays continue to move forward and people are out doing their shopping, that they do choose to shop small business, because the holidays really is where that can kind of put the kind of in overdrive and put them over the finish line for their year, because they do anticipate a lot of sales, and whether, depending if it's a service-based, a small business, sales, that kind of thing, they really rely on the holiday season to get that profit in.
Generally speaking, with retail businesses, is there a drop in January, start of a new year, kids getting back to school, people looking at credit card statements and going, "Whoo, we got to tighten the reins for a little while," that makes December even more important, kind of getting to that finish line you were talking about?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone kind of experiences that in January. You kind of have a reset after the holidays. And so definitely business owners, it's probably a little bit of a slow time for them, but they're also trying to, during the holidays, usually their retail, whatever they have in their store, they're kind of down to the last bit of it. And so it's kind of like a kind of restart up basically for them. You're starting the first of the year, being able to figure out, okay, this is where we are and this is the goal for the next year. So definitely, the holidays push them through the finish line, and then, they kind of reset, and it is a little bit of a slower time in January for them.
I was talking to a friend about the restaurant business not too terribly long ago, and said that this is like friend of a friend stuff, but knew some restaurant owners and said that the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and the Friday after Thanksgiving, so, Thanksgiving Day obviously closed for most places there in the middle, but the day before and the day after, two of the busier days on the calendar, and I don't know if it's because you're tired of cooking, you're tired of eating the same food, have you heard that before?
Yeah, I actually have. And I didn't really even realize this, but where I live in Louisiana, and I know this is probably different places all over the country, apparently, it's a big thing to go out and go to dinner the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And I think there was a lot of local small business owners, I'm sure even in Mississippi, that kind of ran specials. They knew you had to cook the next day and your family was in town. And so I think they look forward to that, being able to have that kind of, increase in business those days, and especially on the Friday, too. A lot of people are shopping. I think by that time, people are done eating Thanksgiving food, and they kind of want to get out of the house. And I know for me, it was like, all right, I need to get out of the house, go shopping, and take a break from family. I think everyone feels that way sometimes.
I think so, to some degree. Now, for some, there was a football game that they were interested in on that Friday as well. Leah Long visiting with us from the National Federation of Independent Small Businesses. I know we talked numbers the last time we were with you. Fourth quarter numbers obviously not in yet. Looking into your crystal ball, what do you anticipate that the fourth quarter is going to look like for many businesses?
I'm hopeful that their optimism is higher. I know we always talk about optimism of small business owners on here. And, we've got past the election, kind of life is kind of getting back to normal, I think. The holidays, everyone's spending. And, I think just on a personal, I feel like now that we have got past the election, maybe, everyone's morale's a little bit better and, they're hopeful for the future, and maybe that's going to make the holiday shopping season even better for these business owners. So, I would love to see that, the small business owners and optimism index, that they're very positive, that they're, been a tough year. It's been a tough year with inflation, the state of the economy, insurance rates, that kind of stuff, and being able to end the year on a great note. So I'm hoping my crystal ball is right. Maybe if you're hearing this, go shop, go support your local business. So, my crystal ball will add up. But we're hopeful, definitely, for sure.
You're talking about all different types of scales, right? In terms of size of businesses and what revenue means, what amount of revenue means for a different size business. But I can tell you from personal experience, when people consciously make that decision to say, I could order this online, but I'm going to choose to go to a store in my town that I can get the same thing, and I'm going to keep those dollars local. It literally can make the difference in a year being great or just barely scraping by or finishing in the red. I mean, it's crazy how big of an impact it can make, especially when you have a lot of people that say, you know what, we're going to do this because it's good for our community.
Yeah, and I'll always love to throw in the line that these small business owners, they employ people in your community. They add to your community. We probably all have, we think about our favorite coffee shop. More than likely it's some small business owned, the atmosphere is fantastic. Or, your local retail shop, your clothing store that you go to, and yeah, you could order online or, from a big box retailer. But I love to say that when you go into a small business and you buy something there, it's like buying from like a family member, an atmosphere, because they are a family environment. The person that owns that business, they're probably actually checking you out. They may be in the back room doing something, and you're going to be able to be there and talk to that owner. And so I always tell people decided to be a small business owner because they had a passion and a dream for doing something. And sometimes those days are really hard. Sometimes they're really great too. But they stuck through it because that was their passion of doing it. And so I think being able to, almost reward them, and I love it, kind of not really that term, but being able to reward them and shop their business during the holiday season is super important. Yeah,
and a sign of support, no doubt, for fellow community members. One more thing. So you cover Mississippi and Louisiana, and we've got a bunch of college towns in these two states, whether you're talking about Oxford, Starkville, Hattiesburg, or some of the other college towns in Mississippi. Obviously Baton Rouge, but Lafayette and Monroe and Ruston and others in Louisiana. Are college towns operating in a different business climate than the rest of our states?
I guess it just kind of depends what type of business it is. But, I guess thinking about small business too, a lot of small business owners employ college kids, whether it be your local restaurant, store. And so I think the draw is, they do have a little bit more potential sometimes than your normal small town. But I think it just depends what industry is in any type of town, truthfully. Obviously, you're going to have more stuff going on in a college town, and the draw is going to be there, and the desire to be there is going to be higher. But, I think you can have that in a small town also. Yeah. I think about Laurel, Mississippi quite a bit also. I love Laurel. Not a college town, but, they've added their own charm and small business there to make that town thrive. And so I think that's awesome to hear that and, hear those different stories like that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I mean, North Mississippi's got one of those as well, New Albany, which is, not far from us, just a thriving downtown area. You look at Ocean Springs on the coast, and it's a really, really special spot. I shouldn't have started naming towns because we both just left towns out all over the state of Mississippi. That's probably a bad plan.
Any small town, Any small town we support. Everyone has their own culture and what makes them
That's
unique.
Right.
So all towns in Mississippi.
We know that the legislative sessions don't overlap, Mississippi, Louisiana. So as we move toward the start of a new legislative session in Mississippi, only about a month away, a little less than a month away now, I guess. Anything that is top of mind for you that the Federation is really advocating for?
Well, right now we're just kind of watching, and seeing what's going to get filed and what legislation is going to happen. But as always, we definitely support continuing to lower the personal income tax rate, which I think is probably going to be a big push in Mississippi just because in Louisiana, obviously 2 weeks ago, we did a flat rate of 3%. So I know Mississippi and Louisiana always compete. And so, I'm going to be interested to see Speaker White's plan to continue to lower it. And also, just making sure there's no mandates on business owners, and that's a big thing we always watch, whether it's minimum wage or, anything mandating a business owner has to do. So just those kind of things. But our biggest thing right now is continuing to look how they're going to lower the personal income tax rate and, make it easier to do business and operate businesses in the state of Mississippi.
There is no question that is the biggest issue going into this legislative session. Leah, thanks so much for your time. Wish you a happy holiday season. And look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
Leah Long, Director for Mississippi and Louisiana, National Federation of Independent Small Businesses. This is the Gallo Radio Show on SuperTalk Mississippi. We're going to take a quick time out. I think we've got a few things still left to get into this morning before we bid you adieu. We're back right after this on SuperTalk Mississippi.